How's it going, everyone? Good morning. Good morning. I'm going to give it a few seconds or a minute for everyone to start logging in. But hope everybody's doing great. It's gonna be a quick job search Q&A today, folks. And I do have a few announcements to make. But just let me know in the comments if you are able to see me and hear me okay. I'm just checking here if I am indeed live. So it looks like I had to give it a few more seconds or so. Yeah, I see people starting to tune in. How's it going, everyone? Good morning. Hope everybody's doing great. Just put in the comments. Let me know that you can see me and hear me. Okay. Okay. I'm not seeing any comments. Don't be shy. Don't be shy. Put in the comments. Let me know if you can hear me and see me. Okay. Okay. I'm not getting any comments. Let me quickly check my phone, folks, because I know sometimes I have the some issues with seeing comments on this thing. So yeah, I'm getting a like there. Okay, great, great. Yeah, it looks like people are tuned in. So, look, good morning, everyone. Hey, okay, here's the comments come. All right, awesome. Natalie, thanks so much for confirming. Rajesh, how's it going? Thanks for tuning in. Bikash, Justin, Pankaj, Alex, what's up? Jeevan, thanks so much. Thanks everyone for tuning in and commenting. And awesome. Looks like so this platform I'm using. So recently they activated it so that I can actually see the LinkedIn comments in the actual platform itself. Because before I had to have another device open in order to see that. So just in case, I'm going to leave my laptop open as well. But looks like I can see everyone there. So good morning. How's everybody doing? How's everybody's week so far? Thank you so much for tuning in. I'm also broadcasting live on my Facebook page. So everyone tuning in from Facebook, thanks so much for tuning in and joining me in for today's live stream. I'm just gonna go over some comments real quick. Bikash, I'm doing great. Bikash, hope you're doing great as well. Jivan, I'm doing great. Just staying positive and doing the best I can during these times that we're in. Rohan, how's it going? Shankara says hello. We'll start the session. Awesome, sounds good, Shankara. So, folks, hope everybody's doing great. Now, so what I'm gonna do today, folks, I'm going to be doing, it's just going to be a job search Q&A. I'm not going to be speaking about one specific topic. So for those of you who are actively on the market, or maybe you have some job search questions, interview tips and advice, dealing with, certain rejections, objections, and stalls and all that stuff during your job search, put in the comments right now, folks. I'm going to spend today's session purely going over all of your job search questions. I'm probably going to keep it to around maybe 25 minutes to half an hour or so. Now, before I begin, few announcements, folks. So, firstly, every week, for those of you who have been following me, I release a new episode from my Tech Talk series. So every week, I interview experts in the technology space. So my most recent session came out yesterday. So my Tech Talk session yesterday was with my guest Danny Pehar, who's a cybersecurity expert. So if you have not checked that out, make sure you visit my profile. It should be in the featured post section of my profile. Make sure you check it out. I'm also releasing over the week like short clips regarding our discussion. I just released a clip before I came live just now. Make sure you check that out. A great discussion I had with Danny Pehar. He speaks about a great topic that and we spoke about a lot of things, but definitely a great thing we spoke about was the limitations of technology in safeguarding ourselves against cybersecurity threats, vulnerabilities, and compromises, and all that stuff. So make sure you check it out. Next announcement I have is, folks, mark your calendars because I'm starting a new series as well, in addition to my Tech Talks, and it's going to be probably on Thursdays. And my first episode will be tomorrow, Thursdays. But the difference is it's going to be a live stream. So I'm going to be live just like I am right now. And my first guest, I'm happy to announce, will be Gurpreet Kaur Mann. For those of you, a lot of you might be familiar with her. She posts a lot of job search content on LinkedIn. She will be my first guest. We're going live tomorrow at 2 p.m. So mark your calendars, guys. Now, LinkedIn is not consistent in how they give out these notifications when we go live, right? So just in case, if you're interested in joining, We're going to be discussing anything, pretty much anything and everything job search related, myself and Gurpreet. And we're going to some areas we're going to cover is resume tips and advice. We're going to be covering like are there even job opportunities out there right now given the whole situation with COVID. We're going to be discussing common job search mistakes that candidates make. We're going to be discussing bad job search advice. Like where are a lot of you getting your advice from? Is it credible sources? What are some bad job search advice that you might be getting out there? And we're going to be dealing with something that I was chatting with Gurpreet yesterday, and she was telling about how some of her clients, she does job search coaching, how some of her clients have told her about some negative experiences with recruiters. So being a recruiter myself and someone who advocates a high level of service and professionalism in the recruitment space, and given that that's an area I want to influence in the industry, I'm definitely going to be covering with her some of those horror stories that candidates have experienced with recruiters. So I'm going to be speaking about that. She's going to be telling us more about those horror stories and how you can navigate around that and deal with those situations. And of course, we're going to be speaking about staying positive during the times that we're in. So again, that'll be taking place tomorrow at 2 p.m. Eastern time zone, folks. Make sure you mark your calendar because, like I said, LinkedIn is not consistent in sending out these notifications. So if you don't get the notification, mark it in your calendar 2 p.m. And then if you don't get the notification, just go to my profile at 2 p.m. tomorrow, 2 p.m. Eastern time zone. And it should be in my activity section. It should show that I'm live. Just click on that and you should be able to tune in. So make sure you tune into that. And without further ado, let's get into today's Q&A, folks. So put in all of your job search questions, interview questions, objections, stalls, rejections you're receiving. You're not getting responses when you send out your resume or your profile. There's not enough job opportunities. Any of your job search questions, put in the comments right now. I'm going to go over those right now. So I'm going through the comments right now. So let's see any questions here. Let's see here. So, all right. So Sheikh Udali has a question. So I can actually, that's a pretty cool feature, right? I can actually now put in the question on the live stream. So Sheikh, thank you so much for your question. And so what you're asking, so Sheikh is asking, any tips for fresh grads? I'm an aspiring front-end developer. So Sheikh, that's a great question. Now, if you're a fresh graduate, now I'm assuming you don't have any previous professional experience in the space. So my advice to you is, firstly, on your resume, make sure you highlight your academic experience, right? Because you don't have the professional experience. What you want to do is show your academic experience. Like what type of projects have you worked on? Definitely mention the technologies, any frameworks, any tools that you did. And don't just mention like the technical aspects as well, Sheikh. Like try and give some context surrounding the project. Like what kind of a project was it? For example, the academic project was you had to create the front end for a calculator. Make sure you describe that, like what it was. And then secondly, what you want to do is you want to mention what was your team responsible for? Like, was it split into like different teams for the same project? Was it just your team working on this one project? And then finally, you got to mention what was your personal contribution. Now, given that you're an aspiring front-end developer, Sheikh, I'm assuming that your contribution would be more so on the front-end side of things. So make sure you signify that on your resume and make sure you mention like what your role and what your responsibilities were. And mention that. So your academic projects, make sure you highlight those on your resume, Sheikh. That's going to be very useful because again, you don't have the professional experience. So what you want to show is what's the practical academic experience that you have. Now, other things, Sheikh, aside from what you've done in school and in your studies, you want to work on your own. You need to build your own portfolio of projects as well. So start some side projects of your own. Does not have to be paid work. If you can do some freelancing paid work, hey, that's great. But what you want to do is you want to start building your own portfolio. So start playing around with things that you learned in school. Work on your own project. Be active on GitHub. Have a profile on there. Do some work. Put up your code there. And you want to build that portfolio, Sheikh, so that at your interviews, you're not some guy who's just talking about, I learned this, I learned that. Now you can say, I learned this, but here's my portfolio. Do you mind if I open up my laptop or if there's a computer in the room, you can say, hey, look, can we go to this website? I can show you my portfolio and you can take a look at exactly the quality of my code, what I've done, what I've accomplished, what I'm capable of. So I guess the point I'm trying to make here, Sheikh, have some practical things that you can show the interviewer or the recruiter, the hiring manager, whoever it is, that you can show being that you're a fresh grad. So look, I hope that helps, Sheikh. Thank you so much for your question. All right, so moving on to the next question, folks. Let's see here. So Pankaj Dubey. So Pankaj says, how to search for jobs in lockdown. Jobs in the market is very less. So, firstly, thanks for your question, Pankaj. Great question, and absolutely a very accurate observation, right? I mean, given this current situation of things, folks, the market is not as ideal as it was before, right? I mean, obviously there is a slowdown because of COVID and the pandemic now, but and I mentioned this in my ebook, which by the way is free. So make sure you folks you download it. It's on my website www.deankulavira.com. The name of my ebook is Four Mindset Shifts for a Hostile Job Market. And in it, what I talk about is, look, there's definitely areas of the market where there's going to be, and probably a large portion of the market where there's no opportunities. But what I want you to do, Pankaj, I need you to do some research, whether that's through the news or online on Google. You need to research what parts of the market, despite this whole pandemic going on, what parts of the market are actually benefiting from this or experiencing an increase in demand. Because there's certain sectors in the marketplace that definitely are experiencing an increase or even a spike or a surge in demand right now. Although there's certainly those areas in the market that's experiencing a decreased amount of demand. Now, some areas experiencing an increase in demand could be logistics companies. It could be grocery chains, right? High demand right now. E-commerce. E-commerce is a very hot area now. Everyone's doing all their purchasing of stuff like online. What else? Definitely technology infrastructure. A lot of companies who did not have the technology in place to have their employees work remotely are investing into remote, this remote technology infrastructure. That's another example of another area. E-learning. E-learning is a very hot area right now. There's a huge shift towards online training, online learning. So these are some examples, Pankaj, of some industries, and I'm sure you'll find a lot more if you do your research. So go online, or even if you're checking out the news. Sorry, excuse me. If you're checking out the news, look for those sectors in the market that are experiencing high demand. A very important one I totally missed: healthcare. Healthcare is a very hot sector right now because there's a lot going on in the healthcare sector, obviously. So, Pankaj, my point is, look at those parts of the market experiencing an increase in demand. Like that's where you need to be looking for your particular skill set in terms of opportunities. Now, there might be some sectors where your skill set is not relevant. I'm not saying to waste your time on those. What I'm saying is, get an idea. Where are all the opportunities? Where's all the increase in the market right now? Where are all the opportunities? And is there a demand for my skill set within those parts of the market? So hope that helps, Pankaj. That's where you need to be directing your search. So let me see here. Going on to the next question. By the way, thanks for the question, Pankaj, again. So Justin, thanks so much for tuning in, Justin. So Justin says, what are some strong trends that you see in the data science industry? So Justin, from my perspective, what I would suggest is, firstly, what you need to do is, again, look for those parts of the market experiencing an increase in demand, right? In the requirement for their services, their solutions, their products, and all of that. And within those industries, there's definitely probably an increase. I would assume there's an increase in demand for analyzing various data in relation to their products and solutions. Are there certain trends that they can anticipate, or how is this current pandemic situation affecting certain parts of the market? I would say, Justin, actually, there's probably a huge demand for data science individuals, like data science, data analytics people right now, because that data, that information that'll help them predict, okay, what's going to happen now? What's the effect that COVID-19 has had on XYZ within our company, or product line X, product line Y, product line Z, whatever the case is. I would say, Justin, data science is a very hot industry right now. You just had to look at those parts of the market where, those companies that are not, unfortunately, laying people off, but actually increasing that increase in demand, where they might need individuals from data science, data analytics to come in and really help them figure out the data, make sense of the data, predict and make those models that might help predict what's going to happen moving forward and all of that. So that's what I can give from a recruiter's standpoint, Justin. So I hope that helps you in that. So again, look at those parts of the market experiencing this increase in demand right now for their products, their solutions, their services. You want to look within those spaces, because you know what? With all this data that they have, they're trying to make sense of that data, obviously. And they're going to need people such as yourself who's going to help them make sense of that data, create those models that are required. And look, that's money, right? That's money for the organization. So they're going to be looking for people like you, Justin. So hope that answers your question. And again, thanks for your comment. So I'm looking for more job search related questions. Okay, so I have this comment, and unfortunately it doesn't show the name. So I'm gonna refer to you as mysterious LinkedIn user. Thanks so much for tuning in. And your question is, can you please share your experience on project management jobs availability during the lockdown situation? Yeah. So Mr. or Mrs. Mysterious LinkedIn user, thanks so much for your question. So I'm gonna go back to what I mentioned already, right? Like you gotta look for the PM roles, and not just PM roles, folks. Anything that you're, whatever your skill set is, focus your search on those parts of the market experiencing an increase in demand right now. You do not want to be fishing in a part of the pond where there's no fish, right? Uh, I mean, it doesn't make any sense. Like you can have the best fishing rod in the world, you can have the best bait, you can spend it could be like a gold plated fishing rod, but if the place you're fishing in the pond is empty, there's nothing going on. That's a waste of time. Like you're not fishing effectively or efficiently. You need to look at where's all the fish. Where are all the fish right now? I've used this analogy a lot of times, and I'm not a fishing person. Okay, I know some of you reached out to me. You're like, hey Dean, I noticed that you're into fishing, and some of you guys are trying to connect with me on that. But no, I'm just using this as an analogy, folks. I know close to nothing about fishing, but I'm just using this as an example, as a metaphor, as an analogy. You want to look for those parts of the pond where all the fish are. So where are all the fish right now? The fish being those parts of the market that's experiencing an increase in demand or sustained demand for their services, their products, their solutions, and all of that. So you want to look for where all the action is in the pond right now. It might be a much smaller part of the pond. There might be less fish, but that's where you need to be fishing, folks. So you need to do some due diligence and research on your side. So to answer your question, Mr. or Mrs. LinkedIn user, you want to look for where's all the action right now? Where's all the money and investment flowing right now? Which parts of the market is experiencing an increase in demand? And you want to look for your PM, your project management opportunities in those parts of the market. That's how you're going to most effectively plan out your time and use your time, because you do not want to be wasting your time going after industries or companies that you might like, but are not hiring right now. In fact, they're downsizing. Like that's a waste of time. That's not effective use of your time. So my point is, look for those parts of the market experiencing an increase in demand, and look for your skill set, your opportunities within those parts of the market. So hope that helps. And I don't know if it's the same person or another mysterious LinkedIn user says, well, it looks like it might be a different person, but my face is my face is out of the picture, but hopefully you guys are okay with that. But this person asks, hi Dean, hope you are doing well. I am a software engineer with more than 6 years of experience. I was on a maternity break last year and returning back to career. I have started my job search actively from this February. I'm not being considered by the recruiters as I had a break, and this unfortunate situation is making it worse. Do you have any suggestions for my situation? I will be happy if you can help me here. All right, so I'm gonna take off the comment just so that all of you can see me. But look, thanks for your question. And look, this is a common situation, and unfortunately, you have come out of your maternity leave during a time when we're experiencing a situation such as this. Now, what you want to show, and unfortunately, I don't know your name because it doesn't show your name for some reason. But what you would need to do is you want to show what you've been doing during your maternity leave. Like, I'm not sure if you've been doing any training, any certifications, or any little side projects you've done to stay on track with software engineering, with your skill set. You want to highlight those and make that known, because what you want to, because look, all it takes is like a year to be away from your core skill set to get rusty, right? That's the concern that most recruiters and hiring managers would have. And it's very possible within software engineering and development as well, right? Like if you're not developing or coding for a year, I mean, you guys tell me, if you're a coder or developer, put it in the comments. Like if you stop coding or developing for a year, is it possible you can get a little rusty, that you can forget certain things, because you're not doing the same thing over and over every day like you usually are, right? So if you stay like a 6 months or a year away, is it possible? It's possible to get rusty. I'd love to hear from the developers. Put in the comments right now, and let me know. So that's the concern most hiring managers and recruiters would have, for this individual who had that question. So what you want to show is what have you been doing with your skill set during your time off. Now, obviously, they're not going to expect you to be putting a whole bunch of time, because obviously you were on maternity leave. But what have you been doing to keep up on your industry, on your skill set? Have you been coding? Have you been developing? Have you been doing a little, some little hobby projects here and there? Have you been doing any training, any certification? That's what you want to show, because you want to show that, yeah, even though you've been away from what you do for like a year, you're still able to hit the ground running. You're still able to keep track of things, and you're still someone that the company can invest in, and get into the space. Now that being said, unfortunately, what we're experiencing right now is a high level of increase in available talent and much fewer opportunities out there, folks. It's a highly competitive market. I'm not trying to discourage all of you, not trying to cause panic, but my responsibility is to give you a realistic outlook of what's going on out there, so that all of you can take the necessary steps and make those adjustments, right? So aside from that, what I would suggest to this individual: look, network. Now is the time for networking within your industry, because you want to make those connections with people. You want to have people in your space that are aware of you and who know that, okay, yeah, she's been off the market for a year, but I can vouch. I know her. I've worked alongside her. He or she's very good in what she. Well, it's a she because I know she mentioned maternity leave. She's very good in what she does, and that's what you want to do. And second, and the other thing, folks, you need to use this time to establish yourself as a profession, as an expert in your space. Make use of LinkedIn. Post articles. Do posts about coding, development, software engineering. And that's how you're going to get known, because you need to, again, this is a great time to establish yourself as an expert in the space. So look, it's not going to be an easy situation for you, unfortunately, for the person who asked the question, because again, there's a much higher level of competition on the market. So what I would suggest, if you haven't done so already, invest into your skill set, take some trainings, take some courses, take some certifications. If you can't do that, if you don't have the finances to invest in all that, work on your own projects, start building your own portfolio, do some work as a freelancer. Go on that website. I can't remember the name of that website. I think it's eWork, or someone put in the comments. That popular freelancing website, right? Do some work on that. And if you're not, if the pay is not ideal, hey, who cares? Like, what you need to do right now is show that you're not rusty, that you're someone who can come on board with the company and hit the ground running, right? So hope that helps, and all the best in your search. I know it's some tough times that we're in. Okay, so let me see. I'm looking for more questions here, folks. So let's see here. So Vibor has a question. Vibor, thanks so much for tuning in, and thanks for your question. So Vibor Sharma says, how do you see Canada government job in IT department from job security perspective? Do we see layoff in government job as well? So Vibor, great question. Now Vibor is asking, like, is there job security in the government sector? Like, if I have an IT job in the government sector. So now Vibor, obviously government is huge. It depends on what department or division you're in within the government. But from what I understand, look, government is an essential service. Government probably is not going to go out of business. Again, depending on what kind of project the division or the part within the government you're working on, right? It is dependent on that, right? Okay, so keep this in mind. But other than that, for the most part, Vibor, at a high level, I would say government is a great place to be, because there's stability in the job, and depending on whatever project you're working on is well funded, and there's a demand for whatever you're working on. You should be pretty good, and it should be well and secure. Now, that being said, it depends on what kind of project you're working on. And again, is there funding? Is there demand for it? Is there any risk of your project getting cut in terms of the funding? So those are some other aspects you had to consider, Vibor. So make sure you look into that. But for the most part, at a high level, folks, at a very high level, abstract level, government is a great industry to be in, because it's an essential service right now. It's in demand. I'm hearing that there's a lot of opportunities within the government space. So make sure you look into that. I hope that helps, Vibor, and thanks for your question. So I have a question from let's see here, Eric Lima. Eric says, I have a Canada working. Sorry, let me just put this on the screen. Yeah. Eric, thanks so much for your question. So Eric asks, hi, I have a Canada working holiday visa. I was going to Canada on March 18th, but I can't due to the coronavirus situation. Are employers hiring people that are not in Canada? So Eric, great question. And I'm sorry to hear about your situation, because look, folks, a lot of talented people who were supposed to come here to Toronto, unfortunately, those things and those plans have been put on hold. And a lot of people have been reaching out to me about this. So Eric is in a similar situation. So Eric, to answer your question, here's the reality of the situation, Eric, right? I mean, right now, like, there's been a whole bunch of layoffs and a whole bunch of people who are now available locally here in Toronto, right? So I'm assuming, Eric, you're asking about Toronto. That's where I'm at. That's the city that I know the most about. So what you have is a whole bunch of available talent that are locally on the ground here in Toronto. Now, unless your skill set is something that is high in demand, but difficult to find here itself in Toronto. Given the fact that we have so much available talent, most organizations will have a hard time justifying looking for people outside of Toronto, like let alone outside the country, even outside of Toronto, even outside of the province, or even outside of the country, right? Because there's so much available talent right now. People locally here in Toronto who have lost their jobs, who are available on the market. So it's kind of difficult for a company to justify looking outside of the country for bringing in someone that when there's so much available talent here locally on the ground in Toronto. So that's the reality of the situation, Eric. Now, I'm not discouraging you. I mean, definitely, I would suggest you definitely keep applying for any roles which interest you. Keep connecting with key decision makers, stakeholders at companies which interest you. If nothing else, Eric, build those relationships so that when things clear up and you're able to finally get over here, at least you have some existing relationships that you've built that might be able to may or may not be able to help you upon arrival, depending on how long this situation goes for. So thanks so much for your question, Eric. And I hope that helps. And look, Eric, all the best. And don't give up on your plans to come here. Toronto is a great city, always looking for talented people. It's just that this whole situation, right? We were all caught off guard. So going on to the next question. Let's see here. So Jeevan says, IT infrastructure support requirement like VMware. Okay, I guess that's not a question. I guess that's just a comment. So let me see here. I'm going on to the next one. So Ibukunu, sorry if I pronounce your name wrong, by the way. Ibukuno Lua Samuel says, "Hi Dean, are there opportunities for interns in the tech space?" Yeah, I mean, to what degree, I'm not sure. There's definitely, like it goes back to what I said before, right? You got to look for those parts of the market where there is a demand. There is a demand for that sector, and you want to look for your intern opportunities within those spaces. And what I would advise is don't just depend on applying for what's advertised on company websites. Now's a great time if you're looking for internships. Don't be shy to pick up the phone, call into companies that might be, again, experiencing that increase in demand, and introducing yourself and saying, "Hey, look, I'm looking for an internship. Any opportunities at your company?" Feel free to do that, and that's a good way to bypass all those people who might be applying, through applications or resumes and not being able to get anything. So hope that helps. And yeah, there's definitely internships. You just got to look in the right places, and this goes back to what I mentioned before. So next question. So Natalie, thanks for your question. So Natalie says, "I'm looking for a remote accounting internship. I'm on LinkedIn and Handshake looking every day, rewriting cover letters and messaging some recruiters. Any tips to guide me in the right direction?" So Natalie, thanks for your question. And again, Natalie, so my focus is primarily on the IT sector. Like I recruit for IT, so I can't say I'm well informed about the accounting and non-IT sector. But for accounting, I would say that the same principles apply. You want to look at those parts of the market where there is a visible increase in demand for whatever the industry is, and you want to look for your accounting opportunities or accounting internship within those parts of the market. And again, don't depend on just applying for actual applications or emailing your resume and stuff like that. Given that you're looking for an internship, feel free to call into the company, introduce yourself, and ask if they're looking to hire any interns, right? Because you're looking for experience right now, and you're looking for opportunities, and that's what I would suggest, Natalie. So again, sorry I can't give more specific advice because again, I recruit for IT, but the principle is still the same, right? You want to look for those parts of the market where the demand is, and look for your skill set. Look for those internships within those parts of the market. Hope that helps, Natalie. Thanks for your question. All right, going on to the next question. So I have. So Jaya Krishna Vadi says, "Hi Dean, really appreciate the work you're doing in these hard times." Yeah, no worries, Jaya, my pleasure. What do you think about the opportunities for mainframe developers in Canada? Okay, great question. Now, Jaya, having recruited in the software engineering and development space, there's definitely there are definitely certain industries whereby there's more so of a visible need for mainframe developers. So right off the top, I'm thinking the banking sector, insurance, maybe some areas of government, maybe retail as well. So it's much more. The opportunities are not as broad as maybe other types of software engineers and developers, right? So what you need to do, Jai, again, you need to do. This is where you need to do some research. So research those organizations that definitely have mainframe systems in place, or who provide maybe mainframe consulting services and mainframe software consulting services. You want to do your research, Jaya, look in those areas, and you want to look for your mainframe development opportunities in those areas. Like I said, the demand for mainframe developers, I wouldn't say there's a need that's as aggressive as maybe your Java developers, your .NET developers, your or on the front end, the JavaScript developers, and on the data science side, those kind of developers. So that's where I see most of the software engineering and software development opportunities. But the mainframe side, you want to look at what organizations still have those mainframe systems in place and have that requirement for mainframe programmers, and that's where you want to look, Jaya. So you would have to do some research at your end. But from what I've seen, Jaya, as I mentioned, you want to look at the banking sector, you want to look at insurance, you want to look at retail. Although retail might be hammered really bad, unfortunately, right now, given the situation, but you still want to you still might want to look there. And finally, what was the other one I said? Government. You want to look into the government as well. So hope that helps, Jaya, and thanks for your question. So Chengir, hey Chengir, thanks so much for tuning in. Chengir is a great guy to follow, folks. Make sure you follow him. He puts a lot of great job search tips and advice. So Chengir says tech startups are hiring for IT professionals. It is a great time. I'm hiring a full stack developer and I have some other software engineering positions. Send me a connect. Let's talk. Yeah. So there you go, folks. So look, these lives I do, folks, is a great opportunity for all of you to connect with each other, right? So feel free to network with each other. So look, Chengir is saying that he has some full stack development opportunities. So make sure you connect with, if you're a software developer, connect with Chengir, find out what he's working on, see if there's any way that, you both can mutually benefit each other. So again, thanks, Chengir. By the way, folks, if you're open to networking, this is an opportunity for you to expand your network, right? Put it in the comments. Yes, I'm open to networking right now. And all of you should be connecting with each other and expanding each of your respective networks. And so this is a great opportunity. So put in the comments, folks, if you're open to networking, say, hey, my name is so and so, I'm open to networking, feel free to connect with me, feel free to add me. Put in the comments. I want to help all of you expand your network as well. All right, so thanks again, Chengir, for that. Chengir also says, popped up to say hi, Dean, man who elevates my game on LinkedIn. Appreciate that, Chengir. I appreciate that comment, and thanks so much for tuning in. And again, make sure you follow Chengir, folks. He puts a lot of great content. Let's see here. So Jillian, I have a question from Jillian. So Jillian, thank you so much for tuning in. I have to pop my head up like this, but I know all of you can see me. Look, so Jillian says, I have my heart set on a promotion in the healthcare sector. I've been working in my current role for 2 months. My leadership skills and strategic planning have definitely been noticed. Do you have tips for asking for an internal promotion? In the past, I've applied to 5 promotions and met for coffee with my potential new coworker, but didn't receive the role each time. Maybe I need a new strategy. So, Jillian, thanks for your question. And folks, this is a great question. So what Jillian's basically saying is, look, she's been in her current position for about 2 months. She's really striving to get a promotion internally at the company. And she's tried out for a few times, and she's had some coffee chats and things like that. What can she do? What further can she do? What's the strategy? So Jillian, I'm not sure if you're still tuned in, but that's a great question, and I appreciate you putting that, because this is a situation a lot of people go through. Now I have described, I guess I've kind of described on this topic in my free ebook, by the way, Jillian, and for those of you watching. So if you haven't downloaded it, it's on my website. It's on my profile, www.deankulawira.com. It's a free ebook. You don't need to provide your email or anything like that. But in this ebook, I described the 4 mindset shifts for a hostile job market. And one of the things I discuss in the book is, and the first mindset shift is, you need to look at where you're at currently. Like, what are the opportunities where you're currently at? And what I would advise to you, Jillian, is whatever role you're aiming for, start operate, if at all possible. Start taking on those responsibilities as soon as possible, even right now. Like, I'm not sure if that's feasible for you in your current position, but start taking on those extra responsibilities. Now, I know you might think, well, maybe they're not paying me, for that kind of a job. It's gonna, result in an increase in workload for me. And look, Jillian, I'm not saying to affect your work-life balance. All I'm saying is, in the 8 hours that you're working, try to pack in as much punch as you can into your workday, right? So assuming your core responsibilities, your core day-to-day tasks are dealt with and they're handled, what I want you to do is take on responsibilities for the position that you're aiming for. So you wanna take on those responsibilities. So maybe you speak with your manager. You can say, hey, look, What are some additional tasks and responsibilities I can do in area XYZ? Assuming area XYZ is what you're looking for, ideally, in terms of the position you're aiming for. So what you want to do, Jillian, is look for those types of opportunities and start acting and behaving as if you already have that role, right? And this is a great strategy because look, if they are considering people for internal promotions, they're the thought process behind the hiring team or whatever team is responsible for that position you're aiming for. You want them to think, hey, look, you know what? Jillian's been doing these responsibilities anyway, so we're not going to have to hire her if we promote her into this position. So let's just consider her for this position. So what you want to do, Jillian, you want to put yourself in a position where you're the first person that they think about, simply because you've already been taking these tasks and responsibilities that might be beyond your pay grade or above what you're being paid or whatnot. But you're taking on these additional responsibilities that are most relevant to whatever role that interests you. So I guess the long story short, Jillian, do the things that you want to get into. So if you're aiming for some other position, start taking on those responsibilities. Start doing what you feel would be an asset to the team that's looking to hire for that position internally at the company. So you want to show that you're already taking on those tasks, taking on those additional responsibilities that make you an attractive candidate for whatever this internal role is. Because you need to look at it from the hiring team's perspective, right? Because they need to take a look at, okay, who can we consider for this role? And look, if you're already taking on responsibilities in relation to that position, you're going to be someone that they're going to consider. Now, I'm not guaranteeing that they're going to consider you, but you know what? They're definitely going to keep you in mind because you're already taking on responsibilities, for this position that you're aiming for. You're already doing the work. You're already connecting with maybe stakeholders, influencers, and teammates for the role that you're interested in, and you're already behaving in a way that you already have this role. So I would say take ownership of whatever role you're aiming for, Jillian, and see if you can take on those responsibilities right now. Don't wait for yourself to get that promotion. Just start doing it right off the bat, if at all possible. Now, whether or not that's feasible, it depends on your role and your skill set, Jillian. I'm not sure exactly what your title is, but I hope this helps you in formulating a new strategy whereby you're already doing those tasks and responsibilities, so that you make yourself an attractive candidate for that promotion, because they're like, hey, look, you know what? Jillian's already doing this work that's expected of someone in this role. If we take her on, we're not going to have to train other people. So you know what? Let's just go with Jillian. So put yourself in that kind of a position, Jillian. I hope that helps. And Justin said, thanks. Hey, no worries, Justin. Appreciate that. Hope that helped you. That data science information helped you. Let's see more questions. So I guess Pankaj is clarifying his question. So Pankaj says, thanks, Dean. I'm more into .NET developer. I have more than 6 years experience. Now I started job search in European companies, but jobs portable doesn't help me much. I need something you suggest me better way. Yeah. So I guess I covered that, Pankaj. Again, look for, even in Europe, you want to look at those parts of the market, those industries, those companies experiencing an increase in demand. So that's where you want to look for opportunities in relation to your skill set. So I hope that helps, Pankaj. So I'm going to go on to the next question. So someone says, hey, Dean, hope all is going well. Yeah, thank you so much. Unfortunately, I don't see some of your names, so I don't know if that's because we're not connected or something. So Terry, hey, Terry, thanks so much for tuning in. Hope everything's going well. So Terry brought up a great comment here, folks. So Terry says, networking is key. Landed a Scrum Master opportunity due to my context. Terry, thanks so much for sharing that. Folks, I can't stress this enough. Networking is extremely important. And look, if you're joining these live calls, start with the networking right now. Like, put in the comments that you're open to networking. You need to be networking and making friends with each other. If you're watching this, that's something for you to connect with. You can say, hey, I saw you commenting on Dean's live stream. And that's how you build connections with each other, right? Start from there and connect with each other. So yeah, absolutely, Terry. Great comment. Completely 100% agree with you, folks. You need to be networking, and and like Terry says, it's helped him land his next opportunity. So thanks for sharing that, Terry. And yeah, Terry put up another comment. He says, Terry says, okay, so he actually mentioned organization hiring. So look into that, folks. That's a lead right there. And see, this is one of the benefits you get, because actually a lot of you, Terry, by the way, shout out to you, Terry, because Terry always does this. He shares organizations that are hiring right now. you might be able to get intel like this, right, when you join these kind of live streams. So thanks so much for sharing that, Terry. So those of you actively looking, check that out. See if they might be looking for someone with your skill set. So going on to the next question. Justin says, how many projects should people with no experience put in their portfolio? How would we find good projects? Okay, so let me read that again. I'm not sure I understand. So Justin's asking, how many projects should people with no experience put in their portfolio? How would we find good projects? Okay, so in regards to your first part of your question, Justin, you want to put in as many standout projects as you can, right? Now you're saying that you don't have project experience, so I would assume, Justin, you're from a different field. You're trying to get into data science, maybe. So you want to work on your own projects. So start again, folks. Whatever maybe you took a certification or training or whatever. Put that learning into practice. Start your own hobby project or personal project where you can speak about what you learned and put it into practical use. So, and if you don't have any professional experience, like I mentioned before, you need to develop your own project. So Justin, my suggestion is as many projects as possible, and try to make it, as standout as possible. Something that really captures the other person's attention. Something that really stands out, and have a couple of them, 3, 4, 5, I don't know, whatever it takes, right? Have as many as possible, because what captures one person's attention might be different from what captures another person's attention, right? If you're speaking to like I don't know, like a team lead, what captures a team lead's attention might be very different from what captures a manager's attention, might be different from what captures a director's attention. It might be different from what captures a VP, a C-level executive's attention. So you want to have a variety of projects, Justin, that might appeal very differently to these different individuals and people. And I'm just speaking about titles, but look, folks, personality, background experience, like this will affect how someone views or whether or not your project captures their attention. So I always suggest have a multitude of projects that you can show, Justin. So hope that helps. And I guess that kind of answers the second part of your question, like how would we find good projects? Have a variety of projects, Justin, because you never know what's going to capture the other person's attention, and you want to make it as much as possible to appeal to the person who you're meeting with or who you're showing your projects to. So hope that helps, Justin. Thanks so much for your question. Bertha says, Terry Goods, networking is everything. Yeah, absolutely, Bertha. Definitely great insight by Terry. And absolutely, networking is very important, folks. So this person is sorry. Unfortunately, I don't see your name, but appreciate that. I'm glad that your advice. My advice is helpful, and I hope you're doing great as well and keeping well. So Jillian says very helpful. Awesome, sounds good, Jillian. I'm glad that advice was helpful. So Sandra Roca says, congratulations, Terry. I've been improving my network and my skills to achieve a position as PO in Canada. Awesome, Sandra. I hope that works out well. And folks, networking is very important. So I'm just going to showcase a few people who said that they're open to networking. So make sure you look them up in the comments and network with them, folks. Now, folks, when I say networking, that does not mean you reach out to someone and say, hey, can you help me find a job? That's not the way to network. You need to build a relationship first, right? It can start off with just what I was discussing today. Maybe some of the topics I discussed today caught your attention, and you can reach out to the people that are open to networking and say, hey, what did you think about what Dean said about this and this? And take on the chat from there, and you can share each of your individual experiences, build that relationship. That's how you build a strong network, folks, and keep in touch. So look, Jillian said she's open to networking. So folks, feel free to network with Jillian, right? And who else? Sidi, thanks so much for tuning in and watching. So Sidi's open to networking. Let's see who else. Sandeep, shout out to Sandeep. Thanks so much for tuning in. So Sandeep is open to networking. Jay, hey, how's it going, Jay? Thanks so much for tuning in. So look, Jay's open to networking as well. So a lot of great people open to networking, folks. So make sure you connect with each other. Don't just, it's great that I'm of course here to help you out with job search tips and advice, but network with each other, folks. These connections, you never know, they might last for the next few weeks, few months, few years. You might build like a decade's worth friendship. Like, who knows, right? You never know. So always be networking with each other and build a relationship. So Tanvir, hey, thanks for tuning in, Tanvir. So Tanvir says, hi, I'm a recent grad looking for entry-level positions. Would love to connect with all of you. Yeah, see, so Tanvir is open to connecting with people as well. So feel free to connect with Tanvir, folks. And look, And by the way, folks, remember, when you reach that point in networking where you're able to ask for some help from the other person, and remember, you have to earn that ask, you have to earn that right. Remember, it's a two-way thing. You can't just ask, you have to give as well. It's give and take. You have to give, and that puts you in a position where it's okay for you to ask for help. Ask for help from your network, from whoever you're in touch with. It's not just about what you can get, folks. It's about what you can give. So before I wrap this thing up, and I will get into the remaining questions, but before I wrap this thing up, I want all of you to think about, okay, yeah, there's definitely a lot that I need right now. I need a lot of help. I need a lot of advice. I need job opportunities. I need this. I need that. Completely understand that. But folks, I want you to think about, what are you able to give, right? What are you giving? What are you giving LinkedIn? If you're not getting a lot from LinkedIn, maybe you're not giving enough, right? Think about that. You're all experts in your space. Like, I see so many talented people who are commenting and all of that. So what I want everyone to think about is, okay, it's completely fine that you want to get something out of this. I totally get that. But I want all of you to think about what you can give. Now, it doesn't have to be video. I know it's kind of nerve-wracking. Like, it's very like, I've been doing this video thing for a while, so I'm comfortable with it. I'm not saying you need to go on video, but folks, you need to think about what expertise do you have that you can share with the world? Some experience that you have. Maybe it's some challenge you faced. Whatever your area of expertise, folks, do like, I mean, one post a week, is that too much? If not one post a week, one post a day. Like, just write about something that might be helpful for someone else out there in your network. Maybe it's something simple as just motivational. Like, how are you keeping motivated right now when things are so distraught and chaotic? Do a post about that. That might be helpful for someone. Like, what strategies are you using to stay positive? Right? I mean, that's something you can give to your network. So whatever it is, folks, like, put some help out there as well. And if you're not receiving any help, if you're not getting any help, and this is something I love to say, is if you're not seeing the help out there that you need, then be the help that you wish you had. Right? That's my advice to you. And make sure you keep. And I'll say that again. If you don't see the help out there for yourself, then be the help that you never had. Be the help that you never had, folks, and the universe will respond. I guarantee that. So moving on, and again, I see a lot of people that are open to networking, which is great. And let's see here. So all right. So Jay says, can you share some information regarding small scale manufacturing industry and how is it growing in Canada? So Jay, that's a great question. Unfortunately, I'm not the right person to ask about the manufacturing sector. I can't say I'm well informed about that sector. My particular focus. Sorry, excuse me. My particular focus is more so on the IT skill set, Jay. The manufacturing sector, I mean, I have recruited in that sector for IT here and there, but I can't say I'm well informed. So look, folks, if anyone in the who's watching this is well informed about the manufacturing sector, you want to help Jay out with some information, I guess he has some questions in terms of the small scale manufacturing industry and how is it growing in Canada, reach out to Jay, folks. So this goes back to what I said before about helping others. It's not just about what you can get. Are you also helping others? So look, if any of you watching this are well informed about the manufacturing industry, the small scale manufacturing industry, connect with Jay. Reach out to Jay, see if you can help him out with whatever questions he has. So hope that helps. Jay, Kinar says, hi Dean, thanks for your advice. These days I see the job description for a business analyst requesting coding skills in addition to BA requirement. Do you see any change in the expectation? So firstly, yeah, appreciate your feedback, Kinar, and thanks for that. Kinar, it depends on what the role is. Like, for the most part, I mean, business analysts are not expected to be hands-on coders and developers. Now, that being said, it could depend on the organization. I mean, maybe there are some organizations, and I would say maybe smaller size organizations that might require someone who's very multifaceted like that. So someone who's a BA, but also can do hands-on coding and development. I mean, that's possible, but on a large scale, Kinar, I would not say that this is some new trend where they're expecting business analysts to do hands-on coding and development as well. Again, it sounds like this could be a smaller size organization, Kinar. It could depend on the type of project you're working on. And it could be simply that maybe this organization is contracting, right? They're very limited in their resources. So they want someone who can do it all, who can do the business analyst thing, plus the coding and development, all that. But Kinar, again, in terms of a large scale trend, no, I do not see that as a large scale trend. I'm not seeing BAs that are required to do coding and development. So hope that helps, Kinar, and thanks so much for your question. and for tuning in. So what else? So I see. So Raghav asks, "Hi, what is the current demand like for French-speaking candidates in Toronto?" So Raghav, I wouldn't say French is like a strong requirement here in Toronto. Like, I mean, maybe here and there are some organizations, depending on if it's a situation, for example, where the IT team, they have an offshore team in like a French-speaking region or a French-speaking country. That's a different scenario. Then in that case, yeah, there is a requirement or a preference for someone who speaks French. But for the most part here in Toronto, like it's not really. I don't see it as a real hot demand for French-speaking people. So I mean, mostly those kind of requirements are like in Quebec, like Montreal, Quebec City, that kind of thing. Sorry, not Quebec City, but Montreal, or the various parts of Quebec. But here in Toronto, I mean, it does happen here and there where they require a French speaker, but for the most part, not really. Much of a like a high demand or anything of that sort. But again, depends on the skill set, the position. I'm assuming you're an IT person, but if you were to ask me, is there a demand for French-speaking customer service people, then my response would be different. Then I would say absolutely, there's definitely a demand for that, because that bilingualism is required, right, in a lot of customer service roles. So it depends. You got to make that assessment, Raghav. So hope that helps. And let's see here. So Raghav says, is the pay scale also different for certain positions for French-speaking candidates over the candidates who do not speak French? Yeah, it's possible, Raghav. It's possible. Because again, the French-speaking aspect, like if someone has that aspect and it's considered an asset or something highly desirable in the role, absolutely, it would be definitely. I mean, I would assume that the company would be willing to pay some more for someone who has the additional French component. So I think that's pretty much it. So Kinar says, thank you, Dean, for your comments, and I'm open for networking. Awesome. Yeah. So folks, Kinar is open for networking as well. So feel free to connect with him. So again, folks, thank you so much. So that looks like I'm at the end of the comments. Kinar, thanks so much for tuning in. And folks, feel free to network with each other. I hope this segment was helpful. And another reminder, folks, before I sign off and let all of you go, reminder, tomorrow, mark your calendars, tomorrow, 2 p.m., 2 o'clock, 2 p.m. Eastern time zone. I will be going live again for my new weekly show, and I'm tentatively calling it Job Search Chat, but I'll be speaking with the job search experts, and we will be speaking about everything job search related. My guest tomorrow is Gurpreet Kaur Mann. She's very active on social media, specifically on LinkedIn. She speaks a lot about various job search topics. She also provides job search career coaching as well. So we're going to be speaking about a whole bunch of job search related topics. So again, 2 p.m. tomorrow, Eastern time zone. Make sure you mark your calendar, because again, LinkedIn does not consistently provide you with these notifications when I go live. So make sure you mark your calendar tomorrow, 2 p.m. Eastern time zone. If you don't get the notification at 2 p.m., just go to my profile, go to my activity section, and it should show that I'm live, and just click on that and you should be able to tune in. So that's it from me, folks. I hope this session was helpful. Thank you so much for everyone for tuning in. I hope my insights were helpful. Everybody stay safe, stay positive. And you know what? Again, give, folks. You got to be able to give as well. Give and take. It's about give and take. So build your network, stay positive, keep taking action. And we're going to make it through this. It's not going to be easy. I know it's tough, but we're all going to make it through this. All right. Everybody have a wonderful day. Take care.